my name is Kelly Dale with offthebeadedpath Thanks so much for joining me today because we are going to learn how to make a fun, bold statement earring, but that is super, super lightweight. A couple weeks ago, I bought a shirt very similar to this one, except for it was green. I love the shirt, but I had hardly any green earrings to wear with it. So that's why I did these fun earrings here. They are a bold statement earring, but honey, these are going to be conversation starters. When you wear these and people are going to say how beautiful they are, it gives you a chance to talk about your beadwork and how you made them. So they're so much fun to do. Now, the reason that I say these are lightweight, because literally these are just some size 11 seed beads. We're not using anything heavy or anything like this. I have earrings way, way heavier than these. So this is what we're gonna do. So the first thing you're gonna need is you're gonna need two 12mm cabochons. These are gonna go in the very center of your piece. Now, I'll show you the ones that I used. I love these because they have a really fun look to them. These are actually some acrylic cabs that I have in the store, and I'll put a direct link below here in the description box because they're awesome. Very, very lightweight. So you're gonna need two of those. You're gonna need 4 2-hole cabochons. So the 2-hole cabs are here and here. Now, if you do not have 2-hole cabochons, you can also use a 6mm or an 8mm cabochon, as long as it has a flat back and kind of a rounded top to it like these are here. So you're gonna need 4 of those. You're gonna need 2 oval jump rings. The jump ring is gonna be used here to connect our post to our beaded component itself. I've used an 8x6. This is a really good size. If you don't have an oval jump ring, you can use a regular jump ring as well. You're gonna need some 6mm flat post earrings. The flat posts are exactly that. They have a flat post to them, just like that. And again, I have those on my website. They are linked right below. You're gonna need some beading foundation. The beading foundation you are going to need is, you're gonna need 2 pieces that are a 2" by 3" here, and you're gonna need 2 pieces that are 1" by 1". So 2 and 2, and then you're gonna need some Ultrasuede. Again, your Ultrasuede needs to be 2 by 3 and 1 by 1. So you're gonna cut the foundation and the Ultrasuede the same size. You are going to need a beading awl. This is a tulip awl or something very sharp because we're gonna poke holes in our beadwork here at the top and here at the bottom. So you're going to need definitely something sharp to be able to poke those holes in. You're gonna need a ruler. You're gonna need a sharp pair of scissors. You're gonna need a pen or a pencil or something to mark on your foundation. So I am going to be using black for my foundation today, and I'll explain why I'm doing that. But I am using a water-soluble marking pencil. This is actually used for sewing, but it's great because I can make those lines onto the black and then they will actually rub right off. So this works great on that black foundation. So you're gonna need that. You're gonna need 16 to 18 yards of your favorite beading thread. And that sounds like a lot, and it is, but it's gonna take a lot of thread to make these. You can use any kind of thread you want. I'm gonna be using the 0.006 in the dragon thread. You're gonna need a size 12 needle. You are going to need optional, these are optional, some size 15 seed beads. So one of the things that you will notice on the earring is there is no edging on my piece. I did not want to mess with the really cool shape that I had of my earring here, so I put no edging on this. If you want to do an edging, you're gonna need some 15s to do that. And you'll notice I have quite a few size 11 seed beads on here. You are going to need 6 to 7 colors of a size 11 seed bead. Now I have mixed my brands. Some of the ones I'm using today are Miyuki. Some of those are Toho brands. It's okay to mix those, but I have 7 colors. The thing is, if you want to know like what colors are going to look good together, all you have to do is a quick Google search, like what colors look good with green, what colors look good with blue, you know, things like that. And you will get page after page of color recommendations to use together. I have literally just picked some very turquoise, blue, red, gold, like a toucan orange, a green. So I've just picked a lot of colors, and that's what you'll want to do. Just a lot of fun colors that will go good together. And I believe, I'm looking at my materials list here, I believe that is everything that you are going to need for these earrings. So let's get your materials together and let's get started. To start your project, the first thing you want to do is mark your foundation. We want to mark the center mark for the up, and then we're going to come down and do a mark here. So for this, I'm going to be marking in the center. All right, I've got it cut just a little over 2, so I'm just going to grab that 1 mark here. And I'm going to line that up and make me a mark. Okay. Now, from the top, I'm going to come down 1 inch. And I'm going to make a mark here at this 1 inch. Then I'm going to come over here. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to make a mark at 1 inch. And then I'm going to use those 2 marks to then okay, so we marked the center all the way down, and then we came down from the top and we marked 1 inch and made our cross section here. Now on your smaller piece, again, we're going to mark it at a 1/2 inch. This one is small enough that you should be able to just make a little mark there, and then I'm going to mark my 1/2 inch and make a mark here. Whoop. So that I can see my lines really well here, know where they are going to cross and intersect, and I'm going to do this on all 4 of my pieces. Now, I'm not going to put the ruler up just yet or my marker up just yet. I'm just going to set them to the side because you will need those again to start doing our decreases that we have here on our piece. You'll see here, here, and here. Another thing I wanted to mention to you was about your foundation choice, your foundation color. The original earrings that I made them on white backing. And the thing of it was, I like how the colors really pop on this white backing. But the only thing is, when I wear them, this is what I see. You're going to see, even if I put an Ultrasuede on the back, you're going to see this white here instead of like a bead. So this is why I changed it to black. So I have black foundation, and then I've got a dark brown Ultrasuede on the back. And this way, when I wear them, the black actually looks like it's part of my design instead of having this in your face white. So this is another thing you want to think about. Again, me personally, I did not want to lose these beautiful lines that I have here, so I did not zip with beads. So if you want to, it's completely fine, okay? Now we're going to talk about these little cabs that I'm using here. These little acrylic cabochons are so much fun. This is what they look like. They have such a fun look to them, and they're very inexpensive. That's the thing I love about them. So this is what I'm going to be using today. I believe they come, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I think they come in a 12 pack is what they come into. So, and maybe it's $1.25 for a 12 pack. So they're very inexpensive. And I'm going to link those below in the video notes so that you can see, because we have several colors of these that are fun to use. But I'm going to go ahead and get my mat set up so that we can get started working on our piece. To get started, we're going to glue our cabochon right center of where our lines meet on our piece. Normally, if I was going to do this just, you know, sitting it out and letting it sit, I would use this E6000 glue. Because I want this to dry a little bit quicker for the video, I'm going to be using the Loctite super glue. The thing when you use any sort of super glue or fast drying glue, you want to make sure that you do not use too much of this glue. Anywhere you get too much and it seeps out is going to turn white. But I'm going to get as close to the edge as I can get. So you can see here, I'm just putting a very thin layer and I'm just kind of rubbing it around onto the back of the cabochon. Now I'm going to pop this, center it. And the great thing about this cabochon is you can see that it almost has, it looks like lines, so a line here and a line here. So you can make sure that you get this cabochon completely centered on those lines. And then all you have to do is hold it there for just a minute. Like I said, if I was making this and I did not have to do this for video, I would use the E6000, but I like to do it quicker with this Loctite glue. So I'm just going to hold it there for just a second, and then I'm ready to start working on my piece. To start, I'm going to thread my needle with 2 yards of thread. You can also do 2 meters. I'm using the green in the 0.006 in the dragon thread. And what I've done is I've threaded the needle, and then down here near the end, I have made a knot, a pretty good chunky knot. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to trim it right past the knot. So I'm going to leave just a tiny little tail there. I'm going to take the needle and I'm going to come up from the back. And I like to start on the line that I have drawn. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the needle up through the foundation from the back to the front, right at the cabochon. So you can see it's almost touching that cabochon. I'm going to start out with my first color. So I'm going to pick up 2 of my 11s and I'm going to let these drop down. Now when I drop them down, I'm going to press them up against where they're coming out at there on the foundation, just like that. And I'm going to take the needle and I'm going to go down through the foundation right after the second bead that I threaded on. And I'm going to pull this all the way through. And when you do, your beads are going to look similar to this. I'm going to come back up through the foundation again, and I'm going to come right up before those 2 beads that I threaded on. And again, right next to the cabochon. Pull this through all the way, and then go through the 2 beads that you just added. Pick up 2 more of that same color. Let your beads drop down. Again, I'm going to push them back to where they're at the beads that were already in position, right up against the cabochon, and then I'm going to take my needle and go down through the foundation right next to the bead, that last bead that I added, and right next to the cabochon. Pull it through. Now I'm going to come back 3 beads. So 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to come up between those 2 beads. So between the first bead and the second bead there. And then I'm going to pull this through and go through the 3 beads that I did the count back through. And that is what we will basically be doing the whole entire time that we're doing this. So each time I'm going to pick up 2 beads. Let them drop down. Make sure they're pushed back up against the other beads. Go down through the foundation right after the last bead you added and right next to your cabochon. Pull it through, count back 3, 1, 2, 3, and go up through the foundation between the bead before that 3rd bead. And then go through the 3 beads. And I'm going to keep doing this until I meet go all the way around and meet over here. The good thing about this is because you don't have to do any sort of peyote stitch or anything here, you don't have to worry about your number of beads being an even number or an odd number. So you just add your beads until they meet. Once you've gone all the way around, then what you want to do is you want to go through the beads of that circle one more time. Now, as I pull the thread through, I am not pulling the thread super tight. Okay, I'm just pulling it enough to kind of pop the beads into place. This is just going to help to really get all the beads connected, which I should be already. But if you missed a bead, it's going to help to connect all the beads, but also it's going to straighten up, hopefully, any beads that you may have out of line a little bit. You don't want to pull it super tight because what will happen is it'll start to really cup. So you see, kind of tell from the back here, it's not straight. And so when you wear it, it goes whoop like this. And that is from pulling the thread too tightly here in the inside. So when you go through, you just want to pull enough to pop the thread into place. Okay. And then once you finish and you've gone all the way around, you can use your lines for guides. Then go down through the foundation between two of your beads. And then we will come up through the foundation right next to the row that we just completed. So you can see there, I'm coming right up next through the foundation next to that row. Because now we're going to make another round of beads. So I'm going to go to my next color and I'm going to be adding them exactly like I did here. So I'm going to pick up 2 beads, let these fall. Again, I'm going to push them up against where they were coming out at and up close next to the beads here. And then I'm going to go down through the foundation. Come up through the foundation right before my 2 beads that I just added. Pull it through. And then go through those 2 beads. Pick up 2 of your new color here. Let your beads drop down. Push them up against the other beads. Go down through the foundation. Count back 3, 1, 2, 3, and come up through the foundation between the 2 beads there. And then go through your 3 beads. So work all the way around. And I'm going to continue to just work circles just like this until I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'm going to have 7 circles of beads. Now, if you don't want this as big, and I'm going to, so you can see here about the width of it. So if you don't want it that wide, just leave off a row or 2 and it'll make it just a little bit smaller. All right, but just continue doing exactly what we're doing here until you have 7 circles side by side. After about 5 rows, you're going to start running out of thread. So all you have to do is come out of your beads that you have, if you've already gone through them, and go down through the foundation of your piece. If you flip over to the back, you'll see you have all these different threads from where you've stitched. Just take your needle and you come under the last thread that you did. Leave yourself a little tiny loop and then put your needle through and pull, just like that. I'm going to do that again. And then before I cut my thread, I'm just going to kind of weave it under some of the threads that are already in place and pull it. And all this is going to do is this is just going to leave me a little bit of security under there for that thread. So that way, if a knot was to come loose or anything, I've got a little bit left there. So now you're going to take and thread a needle with a new piece of thread. And you can see here, I've already gone ahead. Whoops. I've already gone ahead and put my knot here on the end, and I've trimmed off the excess thread. And I'm going to come up through the foundation between, if I would have added these beads and I counted back 3, I'm going to come up through the foundation there. And then I'm going to go through the 3 beads just like if I would have added them and counted back. And then I'm ready to continue working around adding more of my rows. Once you've completed all your rows, then you're going to need your ruler and your marker, pencil, whatever you're going to use. I'm going to turn it to the long side, my 3-inch side here, and I'm going to measure down 1 3/4 inches. So I'm going to hold this back a little bit, and I'm going to put a line here. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to come over. I'm going to mark the 1 3/4 inch line. And then I'm going to take and line up and make a diagonal mark at that 1 3/4 line. Now it should look even on each side, and mine looks just about even here. But I'm going to show you, I'm going to mark my center line again there. I'm going to show you an easy way to work this row. These are as far as we need to go. These lines here are the furthest lines. So if you still have your middle marked, this is going to be really helpful to you. Hey guys, I'm sorry to interrupt this video, but I wanted to give you a quick reminder about our free shipping Friday, which is coming up on Friday, May the 5th, 2023. On free shipping Friday, any order you place over $15 and have the package shipped within the United States gets free USPS shipping. Now, in your package, when we mail it to you, you are also going to get a free exclusive pattern for a new peyote stitch bracelet that I have designed. I love this. I think it's so incredibly cute. It has little tiny flowers on it, and you can change up the colors on the flowers, although we've done them in all red. And if you like it, you can double it and make an even wider bracelet, and it's such a fun project to work on with so many different color possibilities. Along with this free pattern, you're also going to get a coupon that you will be able to use during the month of May that will be exclusive to the people who place orders. So I just wanted to remind you one more time, free shipping Friday, May the 5th, 2023. Now let's get back to making these awesome earrings. You're working your first decrease, and this is why we marked those lines. You can see here and here is what we're doing. Now, the beads that I'm using here, the gold beads, this is my first line. I'm going to need about 25 of those beads. Now, this is a Toho brand seed bead, so if you're using a different brand, it might be a little bit different. But the easiest thing to do is to bring your needle up at the line. See, right before that center line. I'm going to pick up one of my beads, and I'm going to come right down through the foundation so that that bead is centered. Now I'm going to put 12 beads along each side of this. So all I have to do is come up, back up through the foundation, come through the bead here, and then I'm going to put on about 12 beads or until I meet my line. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this side. As you can see, it's taken about 25 beads to go from line to line. Now you want to work another color right under the beadwork that you just completed. Now that you have your second row complete, now we're ready to do another decrease. So what we're going to do, we're going to grab our ruler again and turn our piece, and we are going to come down and we are going to make a mark at 2 1/4. So 2 1/4 on that side, and then 2 1/4 on this side. Now, come in about, hang on one second, let me grab the sample here. You're going to come in about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 beads from the end. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm going to line that up with my line that I have made, and I'm going to draw my line just like that. And then same thing, I'm going to come in about 5 beads, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to line that line up with my mark, and then I'm going to make myself a line there. So once you've got that, now you're going to do 2 rows here from line to line, just like you did here with these 2. So we're going to come in again about 5 beads and line to line. Once you have those 2 rows complete, now we're ready to decrease even more. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of brighten up my center line one more time, because once I finish these 2 rows, I'll be ready to do this, and I really need that center line. So I'm going to come in about 4 beads, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to mark a line from that bead to the corner. Okay, and now same thing over here. I'm going to come in, mark myself about 4 beads, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then mark the line there. Okay, so I now have my 2 lines marked here and here, and I'm going to do 2 more rows of beads in between these lines. With 1, 2, 3 decreases now complete, now we're ready to tack on another 2-hole cabochon. So I've gone ahead and I've used a little bit of my glue to just kind of hold it down while I'm working. And I'm going to simply tack it down by coming up and going through the holes of the 2-hole cabs. I'm going to go through the hole there and then down through the foundation right after that hole. And then I'm just going to kind of turn it, come up through the foundation right at the hole there. Go through the hole, and then go down through the foundation right after that hole, so that now that is tacked into place and I don't have to worry about it moving around. Now at this point, you want to do 2 more rows of your beadwork, just exactly like we've been doing up here. Now, the one thing that I did a little bit different on this one, and you don't have to do it, but I used the same color for the last row here and the second row here. I don't know why, I just liked the way that looked. But just know that this last color does not have to be the same as this one. So all you have to do is start with your first color, and you come up right at the beads and that 2-hole cab there, right where they kind of meet. And then just like we did all the other rows, you're going to start out with your 2 beads and work your way around. But as you pick up those 2 beads, push them up against the beadwork that's already in place and try to get them as close up there as you can before you go down through the foundation. So that they'll be up nice and close, just like that. And then just work your 2 rows just like you've done. Now that I've finished up the last row, I've gone ahead and tied off the thread and gotten rid of any excess threads I have. Now it comes the fun part. Now we trim. And I'm going to go around and I'm going to trim all the way around the piece until I get it cut out. And you'll just want to keep and check and make sure that you're not cutting any threads. And here's how I've kind of found the best way to get your corners on these earrings. So instead of trying to keep coming around and then turn this way, I come in this direction to get it cut there, and then if I need to, I can get in here with the points of my scissors and kind of get that little point out. But then I cut straight up. Again, make sure that you're not going to cut threads there. Cut straight up and then come out at an angle and cut like that. Straight up, again, making sure that you're not going to cut into a thread there on the back. And then at an angle. So you see what a nice, really, really nice angle you get when you cut them that way. And so then again, even here on the circular part of it, to get that nice angle, I cut just like that. Now I have a little bit of spot, a little bitty space here where this black is showing past the orange. And if I can get in there and clip it just a little, just like that. And then I'm just going to go around the outer edge here. Okay, and then again, when I get back to here, I'm going to come in straight at an angle. And then cut straight across. And then come this way at an angle. Felt like I cut a thread there. I hope I didn't. And then do that and come up at your angle. And this just makes your life so much easier when you're trying to cut around it. And I'll look at it, make sure I'm happy with how it's cut out. And I am. So now I'm ready for the Ultrasuede for the back of it. So normally when you get ready to put your glue onto the back of your piece to put on the Ultrasuede, all embroiderers tell you do not go all the way to the edge because we have to stitch through the edge. Now, because I am not going to stitch around, when I put the glue on, I'm going to bring that glue all the way to the edge. But you can see I'm kind of using the tip of the glue container here to spread it out. So it's a really, really thin layer of glue there along the edge. But I'm going all the way to the edge with the glue. You just don't want a ton of excess because we don't want it to squeeze out. Okay, and then in here, I don't have to put, a ton. I'm just, like I said, this looks like a lot, but it's not a lot whatsoever because I'm using, again, the tip to just spread it out as I work. Now, the great thing about the E6000 is that it's going to dry completely clear. So if you get a little bit off the edge, it's okay. It's going to dry clear. Okay, so I'm going to put some right there. And then I just had a little scrap of this foundation left. So I am going to have to put this on here kind of catty corner, diagonal, but that's okay. And then I'm going to take and I'm going to put my top back on my glue here so it doesn't dry out. And then I'm going to press it down really, really well. Now in the real world, we would like to give this a couple of hours to dry. But for video purposes, I'm going to go ahead and be cutting out my piece. So we're going to do this exactly like when we cut out our beadwork off the foundation. We're just going to follow the line there to trim our suede. Now, if you are going to do your beadwork around, like you're going to put some 15s around the edge, then you do not want to go all the way to the edge with the glue so that you will have an easier time getting those 15s in place. Again, I don't want that because I don't want to mess up the cool structure I've got going on. So I'm not going to do that. Now, one thing that you could do, you could take a needle and do a little whip stitch here just with thread, the same color as what you've been using. You could definitely do that as well, but I've not really had an issue with the two pieces coming apart from each other. But if you find that that's an issue, that's another thing that you can do, is you can just take and do a little whip stitch to connect the two together. And okay. Now, once that's complete, you kind of like take a look at the front, make sure that it's lined up, and it is. That looks great. So now I'm ready to do the post here for the top so that I can finish out the earring. When you're ready to do the post part of your earring, you're going to feel like you are going to fly through this, and you will. So you're going to take your foundation that you have marked, and you are going to glue or tack down a 2-hole cabochon right in the center of where those two marks meet. Now we're going to do this exactly the same as we did when we started this piece. So I'm going to put my little knot here in the very end of my thread. And come up right next to the 2-hole cab, and I'm going to tack it into place just like I did on the beaded component that we've already got finished. It's fine if it's glued, but take that extra little precaution and tack it down, because this is what you're going to be putting in. The flat back is going to be on the back of this, so you're going to be messing with it, taking the earring on and off. So you want to make sure it's tacked down really well and it's not going to come off. So on my one that I've got completed here, I did 2 colors of beads, and you can do the same. So I'm going to do, and you can pick whatever colors you want. I just didn't use the red and the gold a ton, so I decided to use it up here. If you wanted to, you could definitely do the color you did down here, completely up to you. But I'm going to do 2 rounds of beads around just like I did on here. Just doing it around the cabochon, the 2-hole cab, instead of my cab there. Once both rows are complete and you've tied your thread off, then you can take your scissors and trim the excess of this off. Like I said, this part feels like you fly through it compared to the work you put in your bigger piece. So again, for video's sake, I'm going to be using the Loctite glue. You definitely want to use your E6000 glue to do this step with. But we're going to put some glue right onto the pad of the earring. And we are going to take it, give me 1 second. And you can either glue it straight to the middle, or you can glue it down a little bit lower. It does not matter, depending upon where you want the little post or this beaded part to lay on your ear. I'm going to hold it here for just a second. I'll set that and let it dry. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to take my piece of Ultrasuede. And this is where your beading awl is going to come in handy, because you want to take and you're going to poke a hole right in the middle, just like that. You want to poke it big enough that you can get the post through that hole. So now I'm going to take my E6000 glue, and I'm going to put a thin layer of glue all around the edge and then on the pad of the post there. And then take your Ultrasuede that you made that little hole in, close up your glue, and then really press this good to hold it into place. Now I'm going to go ahead and trim this. And again, if you want to put a round of 15s on here, make sure to not go all the way to the edge with the glue. If you want to do a little whip stitch around, you can do that. But again, I have no plans on it. I've not had any separation issues with it. So that is what your piece will look like. Now, if you got any glue that came out of the hole, just kind of scratch that little bit of glue off, and that part is complete. Now what we need to do is we need to make the connection here between our two pieces of beadwork that we have complete. You'll want to go ahead, grab your oval jump ring. You'll need some tools to open the jump ring. And when I open the jump ring, I'm going to twist it open a pretty good ways, okay? So I've opened it a pretty good amount. Keep that handy and grab your awl, and you are going to pick a spot, does not matter where, on the post itself, and you are going to be really gentle, and you're going to poke a hole into the post between your two layers there on the beadwork. And then I'm going to come from behind. I'm going to find where I just poked that hole, and I'm going to poke that from both sides. All right, so from the front and from the back. And I like to do this while it's still wet, so that way it'll help hold it together when I get the jump ring in there. So this is your hardest part, getting it in there exactly where you had it. This is why I say you want to put you a pretty good size hole in there. And if you can't get it from one side, like I can see the hole from this side, so I'm going to try it from this side and see. Because see, look, now you can't hardly even tell where I poked that hole at. There we go. Yeah, you can barely see it down in there. I like to use the oval jump ring rather than the round ring because it gives me a little bit more to work with. But it's hard too because you need to use these pliers to get it going and hold it. There we go. Whew. Okay, got it in there. Now we've got to do the same thing here. So I'm going to go between my last two layers, and I want to center it here up to the top. And again, I want to just poke that hole right through. And you can see I'm going to be real careful, and I'm going to press it in on my awl because your awl gets bigger as you go back. So I'm really going to press it in there to try and get myself a pretty good size hole there. And then I'm going to take the oval ring, push it in just like that. And then close this ring. It's easier to me on the bigger one and harder on the smaller one because you don't want to put a big hole into that little small area that you've got there. But now look at that. You've got it complete. This can move freely in your ear. And then you've got your little posts there so that you can wear these. And you will not believe how lightweight these things are. Now, before I finished up today, I did want to show you some other colors we have available in this stone in our online store. So this one is yellow gold. This is the number 48149 that you can search on our website, and it'll pull it right up for you. But that one, oh, love it. All right, so this one is salmon 48170. And you can see there how beautiful that color is. This one is called Deep Sky Blue, and oh, it's such a beautiful kind of aqua AB blue. This one is called Dark Violet, number 48200. For my friends who love purple, you will flip over this color. It is so pretty and so fun. Blue. 48194 is the number on this one. And you can see they're just a beautiful dark blue. We've got red. It's 48187. You can see there that beautiful light cyan color. And last but not least, we have pearl pink 48132. And for those of you who love pink, you will love this one. And then, of course, the green that I used today in this one is lime green 48163. So you can see they're super affordable. You get 12 in a pack for $1.50, and they will work so good on these earrings. So friends, I hope you enjoyed learning how to make these new earrings that I taught you how to do today. You can see they are statement earrings, but oh my gosh, I love them. They're not heavy at all. You can see here they do not pull on my ears, no more than any other earring would pull on. And I think that's what's going to surprise you, is how incredibly light these earrings are. And you can see you get that beautiful shape without the edging. So completely up to you how you want to do it. Now, for me, like I said, love these big earrings, but if this is too big for you, just adapt the pattern and make it smaller or make it into a pendant. It would be beautiful. Just put you could even just do a jump ring like I did here and slide it onto a rope or whatever you want to do. So it would be really, really pretty. You can find out all the colors that I used in this and get step-by-step instructions on my website at offthebeadedpath.beadstore.com. And I did want to let you know the bead board that you see me use in my videos is by the Bead Wrangler. She is on Etsy. I'm going to put a link below in the video notes so that you can see that. She has a great Mother's Day special going on right now. So make sure you take advantage of that if you're looking for a new board. Also, the pendant that I had on at the beginning of this video was by my friend Ranga Shri. She is at ShriDesignsLLC.com, and it's SHRII, ShriDesignsLLC.com. She does some amazing, beautiful work, so make sure to check her out. And again, I'll put a link below directly to that project so that you can grab that pattern if you want to, because it's a really, really fun project to do. So thanks so much for joining me. Make sure to come back next time where we'll learn another brand new project. Have a great week. Bye-bye.